Rosa had been at Westwood High for over 30 years, teaching history with a patience that had weathered generations of students. She had seen trends come and go, watched bright-eyed kids grow into doctors, lawyers, and even teachers themselves. She had also seen troublemakers, bullies, those who thought authority was theirs by right rather than by respect. But never had she met someone quite like Mr. Calloway. He had arrived just 2 weeks ago, already draped in whispers and rumors. A teacher dismissed from 2 schools. No one knew exactly why. A man who carried himself like he owned the place, walking through the halls with an air of entitlement, as if decades of dedication and hard work from other teachers meant nothing to him. He wasn't just arrogant, he was cruel in subtle ways. His voice dripped with condescension when he spoke, his comments always just shy of outright insults. And now, he had chosen her. Rosa had just finished grading a stack of papers when she heard the sharp knock at her classroom door. She looked up to see Calloway leaning against the frame, arms crossed, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Mrs. Rosa," he said, deliberately leaving off her last name, as if she were just some old woman instead of a respected educator. "I hear you're the queen of this place." She set her pen down carefully. "I'm just a teacher, same as you." He chuckled, stepping inside. "Oh, I doubt that." His eyes scanned the room. Walls lined with historical maps, old books, pictures of students from over the years. "You've been here too long." Rosa arched an eyebrow. "Excuse me? I mean, isn't it time to retire? Leave some room for fresh ideas. I heard from a few students that your teaching style is outdated." Silence settled between them, thick, heavy. Rosa folded her hands over the desk. "You've been here 2 weeks, and you think you know how I teach?" Calloway shrugged. "I know how schools work. The old guard clings to their ways, afraid to move forward. You probably still make them memorize dates, don't you?" Rosa seemed shaking her head. "You think history is just about dates? I think history should be rewritten by those who understand it better." She looked at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she stood up slowly, her movements deliberate. "Mr. Calloway, let me tell you something. The real problem isn't old versus new. It's people who think they're smarter than everyone else without taking the time to listen." Calloway's smirk didn't waver. "You can't teach an old dog new tricks, I suppose." She took a step closer, eyes locking onto his. "And you can't teach a man who doesn't respect wisdom." That was the first encounter, but it wasn't the last. Over the next few days, he made his presence known. He interrupted meetings with long-winded opinions, dismissed students' questions with sarcasm, laughed when younger teachers tried to correct him. Rosa watched as the school adjusted to his presence. Some teachers avoided him altogether. Others were too polite to push back, but Rosa was not like the others. One afternoon, in the teacher's lounge, Rosa poured herself a cup of coffee. She heard his voice behind her. "You know, Rosa, I don't get it." She didn't turn around. "What don't you get?" "You. Everyone tiptoes around you like you're some kind of legend." He leaned against the counter beside her. "What's your secret? You bake cookies for the principal?" A few teachers glanced up from their lunches. The tension in the air thickened. Rosa stirred her coffee. "Respect," she said simply. Calloway snorted. "Please, you don't get respect just by sitting around for 30 years." She finally turned to face him, her calm gaze meeting his. "No, you earn it. Something you wouldn't understand." His jaw tightened, but the smirk stayed. "You talk big, but at the end of the day, you're just an old woman with a stack of books. What are you going to do if I don't show you respect? Give me a detention?" Rosa sipped her coffee. "No, I'll just wait." Wait for what? Her words lingered in the air long after she had walked away. The moment came sooner than expected. A week later, a quiet, diligent student named Daniel came to her after class. His hands shook as he held a crumpled piece of paper. Rosa took one look at his face and knew. "What happened?" she asked gently. He hesitated, glancing at the door. "It's Mr. Calloway. He called me stupid in front of everyone." Her grip on the paper tightened. "What exactly did he say?" "I asked a question about the reading. I got the answer wrong, and he said, 'Well, Daniel, I didn't expect much from you anyway. Some people just aren't meant for advanced classes.'" Rosa closed her eyes for a brief moment, letting the anger settle into something sharper, more controlled. She patted the boy's shoulder. "Go to lunch, Daniel. I'll handle it." By the next morning, the entire faculty knew what had happened. By the end of the week, the principal had received multiple complaints from students and parents. Rosa made sure each one was documented, compiled. Impossible to ignore. Calloway had built his reputation on intimidation, but he had underestimated the resilience of those he tried to diminish. By the end of the month, Mr. Calloway was gone. No farewell, no ceremony, just an empty desk, a nameplate removed from the door. But Rosa knew that wasn't the end. Students still carried the weight of his words. The fear he had instilled wasn't so easily erased. So Rosa rewrote the narrative. She encouraged Daniel, made sure his voice was heard, spoke up for students who had been silenced. She reminded every young mind in her classroom that they mattered. She introduced debates, open discussions, and creative projects, all designed to rebuild their confidence. And soon, the whispers about Calloway faded. In their place were voices that rose with newfound confidence. Late one evening, as Rosa sat at her desk grading papers, a knock sounded at her door. She glanced up to see Daniel standing there, clutching another sheet of paper. Only this time, his hands weren't shaking. "I got an A on my essay," he said, his voice steady, proud. I wanted to say thank you." Rosa's throat tightened, but she managed to smile. "You did that yourself, Daniel. I just made sure you had the space to prove it." He nodded, shoulders squared, and turned to leave. And as he walked away, Rosa knew. Some people in this world you just don't mess with. And under her watch, no student would ever feel small again.